We were mowing yesterday, we weren't picking. And I went to Newcastle West, only back the road, with the lads, we went into Lidl. Too far. How come you're not outside? It drives me insane. You see agriculture contractors, I don't know what's the same up here side. Nothing happens during the week, it all happens on Saturdays and Sundays. And after 5 o'clock in the evening, going all night. It drives me lala.
A poor boy from the backwoods, thought I never would find my way. Sweet girl, straight from downtown, where I was just another face. They said that we should steer clear of each other. Matches and gasoline, nothing but trouble. Said we'd never make it, but you ain't seen nothing yet.
I'm Alan and Ruttle. Ruttle Agri is the company name. It's made up of myself, my wife, my brother, my mother and father. We're down here in Limerick. We're based only a mile and a half down the road there, and it's called Ballingran, just beside Rackeel. Growing up was machinery, cows, machinery. Look, no, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't just all that. We went everywhere, but it was always about silage, and I never remember there's no such thing as silage being cut in our place. Like there's no such thing as cows not being milked. It's a way of life. We enjoy it, we know nothing else. We do everything from silage, slurry, maize, whole crop, combining. We're dairy farming, we're tillage farming. We used to do a lot of round baling, we gave it up because we just felt we couldn't handle both things at the same time. We gave up round baling. Back in the day, we were doing a lot of round baling, and it was a flick of the coin there. Something had to go. We couldn't handle both, so we decided to keep the harvester and pack in the baling. We still have a baler for our own use, just for baling straw. But we do know, and a bit in our own farm, but we do know hard work baling anymore. Well, it would have been my father Edward would have started it. 70s he calls it. He used, himself and a friend of his were out with zetters and double chops, tarp double chops. They used buying, they had up to 3 of them I think, and they used buy one new zetter, 8011 or something like that every year, and a new tarp. So then when he took over the farm from his father, he gave up, my grandfather, he gave up the contract. And he stayed at home, but he always stayed doing his own silage. Always stayed at his own silage with a friend of his. And then I suppose when we came on stream, my brother would be older than me. The interest was there, and he started building away up along. He started, what I can remember back to when he started back was a 602B tarp with a 885 International. The next year then it was, what was next? He did a 7610 onto the 602. The year after that then he has a 716 Ford. The year after that then he bought a TW20, but the 602 wasn't able to handle the TW20. So he ended up buying a Mingli SF400. I can barely remember it now. He kept that for a few years, and then he went on to a 695 class, then an 860 class, then an 890 class, and we made the bold move then to go to New Holland and FR. Loved it, and then we lost that machine. We lost that machine in 16 to fire, and there was no real New Holland dealer at the time to take us on. So we always had a good relationship with Jim Power and all, and he was coming on the big X's, and that got us onto Crones. So we're on our 3rd Crone now. First Crone we had was a 630. She was an ex-demo machine. We got her. We started actually in 16, and we got a demo of a 770. An absolute animal of a machine, but we found it too big. We thought it was just too big for getting in and out of places. So then they gave us a demo of a 630, and we loved it, with the idea that maybe we might try and buy it. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, we had to buy a harvester. So we ended up going with a demo 630, and we loved it. I don't regret going Crone. Good, like the running costs of them is very low, I think, anyway. Like we've never touched a feeder roller bearing in any Crone. Other brands you'd have to. This is a 780. We went up. We 2 630s. We kept them 3 years each, and then we went up to a wide body 780. Well, a 780 is a wide body. Yeah, we do like it. We couldn't go probably. We're going to a 4-rotor rake this year, so we have to stay with a wide body or else we have to go back to the narrower rake. Like this year now, crops are heavy because if they dried out, it's just that they're damp at the moment. Like, it's just, they are damp. Like. But no, I suppose our acres have gone up, so we need the wider body machine. But I do miss the 630 for the nimbleness on 800 tyres, 10 foot wide, fly down the road, lovely, nimble, handy harvester. But I suppose we've got used to the size of this. The first couple of weeks with this were daunting getting it in and out of presses.
My name is Shane Ruttle and I'm part of Ruttle Agri. Well, in the summertime, I'd be putting up, I'd set the maize, I'd drive the combine, be spreading slurry with the umbilical system there at times, and whatever has to be done really. In the winter time then I do all the feeding, say, in the yard. My brother took over in the harvester from my father, say, driving it, and there was a lad with us for years in the loader. He left and I ended up going driving it then. This will be one of our bigger customers. I think there's about 160 acres go into these to be all cattle here and exporting cattle. I suppose we'll have another week of first cuts, maybe 10 days. There'll be some be a bit later than that again. We thought we'd be finished sooner, but the weather just broke and the crops now are gone heavy. Like, we'd still have about 10 days left to do. Today I'm in the 320 Komatsu -8. It's a new machine this year. The last one we had was a 19 machine. We had another one before that. She was a -5. Well, it had 6 years done and it was out of its service contract, and they sell these with a 5-year service contract and warranty, and we decided to move it on again. We only have the one loader, so we need to keep it good and reliable. And the main Komatsu dealership is just the other side of Limerick City, which is near. They give a very good service. We had a New Holland out last year, fine loader, 190. Just was a bigger loader than that, and I like them. They're compact enough for doing other work in the winter time and in around smaller yards. Like, it's a hydrostatic machine. Like, it's different to a torque machine now. You don't have, when you be on the pit now, you would never be really touching the brake unless you want to stop instantly. You do it on the throttle. As you back off the throttle, it brakes itself, like, and it doesn't kill the engine.
Back in the years, way back, 07, 08, were tough because we probably went off course a small bit. We thought we were civil engineers, we were at everything, and it just probably got to the stage that it got, I don't know, could you put your finger on it? As an accountant said to me one time, he says, lads, where's the yachts, where's the private, where did it go wrong? I don't know, but it did go wrong, probably not managing things. Like, you have to be on the ground yourself for contracting, and I think that's where we fell down. It was a tough years, and there was a lot of good people that stood by us, fellas supplying fuel, fellas supplying machinery. There's people, staff. I can remember their years, and a lot of those staff aren't still with us, but I can remember the bad years. There might have been staff that owed a lot of money in this day coming to work, and they stuck by us down through it, like. So you'll be always grateful to staff. You can buy what machinery you want, whatever you want, buy it. You'll finance it as well. You have a demand to sit up in that seat, and you have to be there with the person. Like Shane and myself are here today. I'm driving the harvester, Shane's driving the loader. But we'll go for a dinner there now shortly, and we'll have the laugh like any of the boys together. But I feel if you're not willing to sit up and drive a machine beside the lads, you're the prick that drives into the Jeep giving orders. And I think that's where we fell down years ago. We thought we could do everything. But and that's half the reason why we gave up bailing. You have people stick with you, they get you through it. Like customers, like we had loyal customers, my God, when things be going bad. And it's great to see that they will stick with you and just say, right, yeah. And we still have them customers today, like, that went through that. We have customers that weren't with us at that time. But you just can't do everything. And like if you're there yourself on a job, a small problem is sorted. But if you're not there yourself, a small problem becomes a massive problem. And that's how I feel in it. I don't know. we're very lucky where we are. We have a great spread of work. See, everything is totally different down this side. We have people, like we have a customer on the other day that is booking in to get his first cut silage done in July. We will have second cuts done before we finish first cut silage. Because if you go head west from our yard, 10, 15 miles, they cut turf. And we're just lucky where we're situated. We're sitting, we have late customers and early customers. And I personally think, like, take last week, you have to pick your customers. We did a 150 acre job. Our next job was a 15 acre job. We're doing that customer since the day I can remember going down sitting up in my short pants with father doing it. People cause that, I personally think, by running after the big job down the road. We treat our small customer the same as the big customer. We were at a 150 or 180 acre job when we went to the 12 acre, the 15 acre job after. And he was in the queue the same as everyone else. But like we'd have second, like we probably will, maybe not next week, the week after, so we could have second cuts. And we won't be finished first cut. And we're like, we've whole crop, not next week, the week after. So you're just struggling away the whole time between all the different things. And then you're able to keep a steady flow for the staff.
I'm Joe Doody and I drive the Big M. I've been working here 5.5 years. When I'm not driving the Big M, I pipe the slurry, drive the umbilical out the field. I drive the loading shovel just as a relief driver and bits of everything really. When I was here before for I think 7 years, I went to the harbour in Fines. I was bagging coal and stuff, and I used to work with the odd contractor as well. Just, you know, get from A to B really. So I ended up in New Zealand for 2 years and came back here after that. Was working with a local contractor in Ahinish, driving diggers. And I got a phone call from Alan one day to know that I come back drawing silage, and I'm back here since. I think I dropped 160 acres yesterday. I think about 8.5 hours. Something like that. It was a really heavy crop, and I'll put it to you this way, the Big M knew it was there. I think it's down to a late first cut, and this man normally goes for bulk anyway, so it's all beef cattle he has. The weather played a bit in it as well, but it also helped to grow. Like. The Big M is 450. We have for three seasons now. Well, I'll put it to you this way, there's no downtime with the Big M. When you do your headland, fair enough, but it's when you start stripping the field, you have a sharp turning circle. You're wasting no time. The mowers are no sooner up and they're back down. It's constant cutting nearly like so. We know the ground fairly well. We cut the same ground every year. So you can lighten off the beds in the cab, turn up your cutting height, everything. So it helps a lot. Like. I came in this morning and I was told I was going drawing silage, which is fine, that's no bother. We try to do everything we can to keep everything going. No, I don't usually draw silage, but as I said, it's all mowing or fertiliser. I do a lot of that. And as I said, if there's someone missing, we'll fill the gap. I was driving a 210 New Holland T7 210 and a 20-foot Super Cube Smith trailer. The Smith trailer is the bee's knees of trailers. Simple as. It's just so sturdy in the road and it's well able for the heavy loads of wet grass. Like, if you're not used to it, it's like everything. When they came first, we were looking in the mirrors the whole time. And if you look in the mirror every day, you're never going to pull a trailer. Like, so you just get used to it, like everything.
The farm set up as in the cows, we'd both be involved in the cows. I'd probably be a little bit more than Shane in the cows, but he does the diet feeding. We still both get involved. 4 years ago, my mother and father used to milk the cows, Mum mainly, but we put in robots, and my wife now, and my mother and father. Everyone is still involved, but we've robots now milking the cows. My mother and father milked them up till 4 years ago. Not the cheapest way to milk cows. Believe me, it's not the cheapest way to milk cows, but it gives great free time. It gives flexibility. You know that if you're not home for until such a time, it doesn't matter. But look, there's no point in me saying I'm sitting here in the harvester and there's no that the robots are doing the cows. My wife, my mother and father, everyone does a bit like. The system we run for the cows is we've 24 acres around the yard with 125 cows. So as you can imagine, I would say 70-80% of their diet is given to them in zero grass inside. So they just get it in the shed at night and they stay in, we'll say, overnight and eat zero grass. I would say at a guess 9-10 years is what we'd be zero grazing, I'd say. There's always something to be done, so we're fierce lucky, as in like the lads there when cows are calving could be above. They rather than going spreading slurry, they could be going away bedding calves. They could be asked to do anything. Herd test, like we'll just do a herd test. There'll be no silage for a morning. We're going to do it with a herd test in the morning, lads, and that'll be one of the reasons why we wanted to go robots, because if you were going to put a man milking the cows, you're going to have to let him, that's his job. And you can't tell him, don't do that job now till Friday, we won't be at silage, because he'll want to do it his way. So now with the robots, we can all just decide, yeah, it's wet today. Sure. Like, take a minute, we're what, 9th of June? Calf shed is still, the calves were left out of it. But some wet day there, we're nothing on, we'll go up and clean out the calf shed. So that all helps to keep the lads, the staff tipping away, and we're in a position where we're able to keep them full time there. Because they all have bills to pay, they all need. They have mortgages, they have houses, they have families, they have whatever to do, like. Of drivers, we have, we'll say Shane, myself, Joe Doody, you have, Joe always drives the big end, but just happens today, our next customer mows himself, so Joe's drawn, so he's no mowing today. Joe's main jobs will be drive the big end. He'd be on the main umbilical system, fertiliser. They'd be his 3 main jobs that Joe would do. So then Mike O'Brien is there driving the diets. He's a diets man. That's his tractor. No one else. Well, I won't say no one else drives it, but if Mike is here, he's driving the diets. He does 99.9999% of the ploughing. I'd say this year he's done all the ploughing, and he goes setting grass seeds, all tillage work and all that. If there was one person to go at something else, Mike could be the first man to go at something else. Then you have Kieran Burke, he's drawn there, and what would he be at? Other jobs he'd do is tanking slurry, setting grass seeds. He'd drive the fertilizer spreader at times as well. And then you have Eli. Eli would be the zero grazing man, and he's drawn today, and general slurry and all the different bits and pieces. And we have James here beside us, Gadget as we call him. He'd be slurry and drawn silage, and his dream machine, his 5-metre power harrow tilling in front of no one else is allowed to drive it. He's tilling for the maize. And then we have an immigrant, we have a fella imported from Kerry there. We call him Kerry James. Drawn and slurry and all, anything whatever's to be done. Does a bit of digger driving as well. Would give a hand in the workshop. Mikey Barr in the rake. Mikey is our, we call him our granddad. He drives the rake. His job's to be raking, ring rolling. He wouldn't be full time with us, but any day we want him, he's there. But we have a man in the workshop as well. He's Barry. He's with us for years. He's a firefighter as well, so he does a lot. But we do most of our own repairs, and we actually do bits of repairs for customers as well. Father's 73 now. He drives the spraying, his main thing. And when I'm away like this, when I'm away in the harvester or whatever, he'd be the cows as well with my wife Linda and my mother and all. So everyone would be kind of stuck in the cows, but spraying, he's always spraying. He's as a farmer said to me a couple of weeks ago, he says, the day your father stops spraying, there'll be some weeds in County Limerick. So, he loves that. He tips away at his own pace. Well, I suppose he has done that. He said he has done that to a certain extent. Like, he used to drive the harvester back. I'm on the harvester since low 3. So how many years is that? 23 odd years. He used to be the harvester man. He drove the harvester. And of course, when I was 16, I wanted to go drawing silage, but that didn't last long. I ended up in a moor, and then after a few more years, 3, then he organised the first cut silage, and he's told all the farmers after that, ring Alan now about silage from now on. But still to this day, to this very day, if we were in trouble this minute with something in the harvester, he'd go and get a part, or he'd be there to give a bit of advice, or he'd be there. It's like one day there at maize, I was just 4 or 5 years ago, just couldn't get the maize into the harvester, and I was giving out to everyone, and one poor young fella forgot to put AdBlue into the tractor, and he got devoured, and I rang the father to bring him over AdBlue, and he came, and he says to me, what are you sour about? I said, I can't get that job to take in the maize. He says, take off the head. I said, I haven't time to take off the head. Sure, there was a plate loose, and it was stopping the maize going in, but he had just had a cool head to come on and just steady the ship, like. But
They're more like friends than bosses. They're, you know, we all have our rows and everything and give out over this and that, but at the end of the day, we're all best buddies. Like. So you couldn't meet some of their fellas, and like I've often had to get time off, short notice. Just text Alan, there's no hassle, never a bother. So you couldn't fault that. I started driving tractors when I was 10, just scraping yards for farmers. And I'm still driving them, and I'm 30 something now. I'm not going to comment on my age. You can't beat silage. The smell of fresh cut GRASSMEN. It's a disease. Any of my friends like that are at silage as well for years, they have to come back for a week and do silage. Like, just a week, get it out of the system, and that's it. So it's like a drug. Just say any young people that are starting out driving, don't give up when the contractor gives out you over breaking something, because like that's a lesson. Like, you know, we all get given out to. We've all broke a fair share of stuff. Just keep going. Eventually you'll get there. And well, if any young fella wants to go travelling, before you go, at least get a year's experience with some local contractor. Like, there's no point going out to New Zealand or Australia and say, I can drive this, I can drive that. And when you get out there, you're just looking at it like having a clue what you're doing. Get a year's experience or two and then go. And enjoy yourself then. Make a heap of money and don't bother coming home.
with 3 case tractors, 2 165s and a 175. We have 2 Daihatsus. One is 6180, it's new this year, and we have an old it's Shane's tractor, 631 Daihatsu Negros there. We have New Hollands, then we have a T7245, T7210, T6180, a T6140, or no, sorry, T5140, and we have the father 6050, then he does the spraying and all with that. And yeah, that's them all. I think there's 10 tractors. Well, we always had Daitsus, always did have, and there was always 1 or 2 Daitsus. We never had that many cases until a case dealer opened up Samco there near us, and so when the service is near you, not that there was anything wrong with the New Holland service, but you'll be in the case dealership in 10 minutes. Mechanic lives, one of the service lads live right beside us actually. Even one of them come on to us and leave them driving after work if we were caught for a driver. So it's kind of hard to pass that.
We have 6 Smith trailers. There's 5 20-foot-6 Super Cubes, and there's 1 triaxle 24-foot. This is our first year with it. Yeah, good so far, but you would want a heavier tractor on it, like, than you'd want what's on it when the going gets a bit wet, like. Oh yeah, it is a bit bigger. The one is 40 cubic meters, and that one, the triaxle, is 50 cubic meters, because it's actually higher as well. We had all Heron trailers. The Heron trailer was a lovely trailer to pull now and everything, very good in suspension and all that. I wouldn't fault them, like, but just for the money for the capacity, like, there was no, like, I think the last Herons we had were 32 cubic meters inside them, and that trailer at 20-foot-6 is 40 cubic meters. And like, there is some difference, like, in the size. Like. The problem is when you're tipping, say in small yards, not really getting in and out the gate now. It seems to go in and out the gate fine, and that isn't a positive steer trailer. Like if you look at it, the front axle is closer to the tractor than the tandem axle trailer. I hear people having trouble with keeping axles in line and things like that. Like, and Joe, if you hit rough tracks and stuff like that. Most of them I see around here now don't have, they're all steering at the back, like. That's all, and it seems to fly in and out, like.
When I was a young fella, you'd see something I'd love to own that, and now you look at a machine and you're saying to yourself, the repayments of that have to be, I have it in my head with repayments. But when I was back then, it was just all about buying, don't worry about paying for it. But I think when we went through all that, it just kind of brought us back to reality and said, like some people, we couldn't buy a tractor high spec enough. We couldn't buy them basic enough because we wanted to keep that figure down. And it's all about figures. I know, look, it was a massive jump for us to go from a 630 to 780. The figures are higher. Do they add up and we're 3 years in? I don't know. What, like, if you were going to go out today and buy a 700 horsepower harvester or buy a 1200 horsepower harvester, realistically, when you sit down and think of it, that harvester could be 60, 70, 80,000 deer, maybe more, I don't know. Can you honestly say to yourself that you're going to get that much more work done? I don't think you can. I don't think you will. But I know you need to have a certain amount of it. You need to have it. There's a happy medium there somewhere, and to find that is the problem. And it's not easy. Look, when you make a decision, you have to go with it. It's like the time we started, we set up the robots. I said to my father that morning, they were after making the wrong decision. He said, my dear man, it's the wrong time to be thinking that. Now we're in now, we have to make them work. And thank God they worked fine, they did. We had plenty of problems. Don't tell me it wasn't roping the cows and all the rosy. There was plenty late nights. When you make a decision, you have to go with it. But if you haven't staff with you, you can't do it. If you haven't staff, but they'll come with you if you go on the ride with them. That's my opinion.